Welcome everyone to another episode of Price Targets with your host Bitcoin Jack. Welcome back. We're going to do a quick episode. It's been a week, so I'm going to try and keep it short. I'm still in the process of getting my new desktop completely set up. It's always a hassle with, which files to keep, which files not to keep. It's like this moment where you just have to kind of clean up a little bit, and I also want to keep my old desktop alive. So there's this kind of little hiccup here. I'll manage with that. And in the meantime, it's going to take me, I kind of lost my charts. So I'll have to recover those. I want to talk about Bitcoin real quick. I tweeted on Saturday, Tuesday highs in. What I meant with that is that I was expecting that the high on Tuesday would be, where we get rejected, and it was more specifically aimed at the S&P 500, which obviously closed with a bullish rally into Friday, and a lot of markets were closed on Monday. So Tuesday high kind of happened, right? 31st of May was Tuesday. Bitcoin has dropped, right? It came pretty much to here. So is the S&P 500 going to follow up, or is and is Bitcoin leading or not? It's a shame I don't have the old charts ready, but we can just use this real quick. This is a very clean SR test, right? So this is the support. Here we had a sell-off, it kind of over-exaggerated below it. It swept the low here. Then here it confirmed the level of demand. And then after sweeping the highs here, price came down, retested the level again, couldn't hold, bounced once more, and now I do think it's getting fully accepted below the level. So we have a pretty clean setup here. Let me just zoom in on that a little bit. There's the high here of the May 17, right? So that is the level. Should we lose it? So basically, it could pop back up here, but if we see acceptance below it, it's going to follow Bitcoin. And if it's going to follow Bitcoin, I don't think Bitcoin is going to show any exaggerated strength. So back to BTC. This was a chart I was looking at as I was installing my new PC. So we have the entire range here. It looks as if a lot of people compare this with this, and I understand the comparison. Like in terms of price structure, we have the highest weekly close here. We started to close above it. We have the lowest weekly close here. We started to close below it. Big question here that everyone's asking or hoping for is that, this is going to end up the same as it did up here. Basically, go back into the range. If that happens, above black, which is pretty much, if we get acceptance back above this level, I do think there's room for a rally back to 40.42. Okay, so that's one scenario, and it's hard to draw a real entry structure ID here off on the weekly, but generally that's the area I'm looking for if we start to show bullish behavior here. The other hand, generally when you start closing below weekly closes or above weekly closes, generally that's bullish, right? So whatever happened here is, in hindsight, low volume. So not really a great thing to, not really something you wanted to see. And now we're looking at high volume down here. Okay, and obviously we can all agree that this is a large wick, but there's still a real danger here. If this gets rejected, then there's just on the weekly, at least, that is, you can see some kind of little bit of an hiccup here when price was trying to break to new all-time highs, but generally there is not a lot of structure to provide support at. So support could form at random places, or price is eventually going to drag into places where people are confident enough based on historic, sorry, I had to burp, based on historic levels to trade into. So it's a tough question. I'm not looking for longs here yet, and you can say all you want, but generally when you have a bearish market, okay, so there's two things. Generally when there's a bearish market, this is the bearish retest. You have your first impulse, then you have some some bleeding, and then you pump straight past the stops here, and you come back down. So the key area for us to hold over the next couple of days, I think we have like two to 3 days to kind of see this confirm, in my opinion, is, wow, where did this color come from? This is like a color I never use. Yeah, let's just go for gray. It's kind of this 3-day into the fake out, into the impulse level, right? If we start to get acceptance through it, below it, then I do think, so red here is key level. We have support, 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 fake out, impulse. Below it is, we're going to go for the lows here to start out with. If there's, for any reason, if we follow that scenario, we can draw a line here, and price sweeps this with haste and then sees a lot of buyers. That's going to be a buy signal for me, with stops below the wick. Okay, and then I do think that if this can manage to push above here, hold it, it's going to come into the level up here. And most specifically, I would probably be aiming for this candle, this last candle up on the daily that pushed us down. There's a bunch of people trapped in this entire range. People got bullish at the end for some reason, because the Fed was talking, or it was just prior to the Fed or something, and then it dumped, right? If that doesn't hold, and the region where it's going to hold, if it does hold, is going to be this tiny blip here in the middle of the range, then price is going to head for the 20, like the low 20s, 20, 18, 19, 21. So we got a couple of scenarios. We're going to have to see what's going to play out. I'm still in cash and a small short. Had a bunch stopped out when price crossed the creek. So the creek we talked about in the previous video, basically this trend line here of supply. So that that got fucked up and went pushed through it. So personally, this is the level to buy if you're bullish. Honestly, like, the invalidation is pretty close by because it's through this little block. So if you want to, if you think this has to go up or will go up, this box is the buy zone. If it loses it, we got this ID, and then we're going to trade into the low here. If it does kind of like start to deviate below this and then pop back above it, I do think that's also going to rally with a little check in between in this area, and then the 40k region is the target, if that makes sense. ETH is yeah, okay, here we go. ETH is looking weak, man. It fully retraced the little bump it had. That is by itself generally not a great sign. If Bitcoin is going to have a bear market rally and ETH is losing, then generally just shows that the entire market is bearish, and that we're going to short Bitcoin on the way up as we go higher. I don't think Bitcoin is going to have much of a rally, but we just have to consider all these scenarios here. So ETH at the level, we can draw the level all the way up here. If we start losing this, there's a bunch of places where it still could get stuck. So essentially, this is the demand. This is the entire demand zone. I short this breakout, aim for this level, and this level here to not be bothered, because this is a range, in my opinion. If we're going to enter that range, and it looks like we're going to enter that range, this is kind of like the middle of it, right? So target 1, target 2. If we sweep this and reclaim it, target 1, target 2, okay? Nothing fancy about it. So sweep it, try to get low, get long, tight invalidation below it. Should be relatively straightforward, but if it's going to nuke, and in my opinion, that's the path it's going to follow. After breaking this trend line, I don't think that this kind of a deviation is going to be enough. And I do think it's going to trade into the 0.04 region. Maybe not as deep, there's a couple of levels. Hold on 1 second. Just closing the door here. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. That's 12 minutes. Hopefully next week I'm a little bit more set up with my new desktop, and I'm gonna be streaming, guys, on. I'm gonna be streaming on Sunday, live stream. New setup. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more work on it, but it's gonna be cool, I think. So not really sure on the time yet, probably somewhere in the PM in Europe time. So I think like 9 or 10ish makes a lot of sense. Maybe 11 PM Central European time. So even the Americans can catch up on it. One last shout out to our current sponsor, Prime XBT. If you sign up with them using the promo code BitcoinJack and the ref link in the description below, you're going to get a deposit bonus, which is pretty nice. You can use it to trade with. And thanks for the offer, Prime XBT. You've been a really nice and kind sponsor to the show. I hope that's been enjoyable, and catch you on Sunday. Peace.